This is the Dark Zero Horror Network. Psychological Autopsies.
Phantasm. Is it a nightmare? Phantasm. Is it an illusion? Phantasm. Is it an evil?
You have to take me home.
Phantasm. Is it a fantasy? Phantasm. Is it alive?
There was nobody driving!
Whatever it is, if this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. And a special welcome to everyone joining us from the Dark Zero Horror Network. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We are so glad to have you.
Today we are diving deep into, one of the most bizarre, influential, and just genuinely unsettling cinematic fever dreams ever put on film.
We're talking about Don Coscarelli's 1979 masterpiece, Phantasm.
Absolutely. And before we get into the lore, just make sure you like and subscribe, for more of these cool, nerdy horror deep dives.
So if you're here for the killer flying spheres, the terrifying tall man, or you're just trying to figure out what on earth happened in that ending,
then you are definitely in the right place.
Yeah, that's the mission today. We're going to unpack the bizarre mythology, the unique production story, and that enduring debate about its dream logic.
And the themes of grief, which are so central to it.
This film is really a masterclass in independent genius. Don Coscarelli was a true one-man band. He was the director, writer, photographer, and the editor.
Which is just wild. And the budget was what, an estimated $300,000?
Tiny, just minuscule.
Which makes the return even more insane. It grossed nearly $12 million domestically.
And $22 million worldwide. A massive, massive success. But it almost didn't happen.
Right. It faced this huge hurdle right out of the gate with its rating.
An X rating from the MPAA. And it wasn't just for, the famous silver sphere sequence.
No, part of it was for a scene involving urination.
Yeah, which is kind of funny now. But back then, an X rating would have just killed its commercial potential. It would have been banished to the art house circuit.
It literally took a personal intervention from a film critic, Charles Champlin, who actually lobbied the MPAA to get it changed to an R.
And that one act gave Phantasm the chance it needed to become the hit it was.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's talk about the world of Morningside Mortuary.
Right. So our entry point is this 13-year-old kid, Mike Pearson.
And his perspective is everything. The context is so vital here. He's dealing with the recent loss of his parents.
He's living with his older brother, Jody, who's 24, and he's just terrified that Jody's going to abandon him too.
And into that fear walks the tall man.
Played by the incredibly chilling Angus Scrimm. He is this malevolent, superhuman undertaker.
But the mythology behind him is so wild. The dwarf zombies? Was there ever really an explanation for that?
Not a satisfying one. And that's the point. The film just tells us he's turning the dead into these shrunken dwarf zombies to do his bidding.
To take over the world.
Yeah, basically he's an entity that just defies physics. There's that scene where he lifts an incredibly heavy coffin all by himself.
And then, of course, the true technological horror. The sentinel spheres.
Those relentless silver flying orbs that just hunt you down.
They drill into your skull and drain your blood. For a low-budget effect, it is just so incredibly effective.
Absolutely. And the surrealism is grounded in these really specific, grotesque details. Like the tall man shape-shifting into the lady in lavender.
That severed finger scene, pure nightmare fuel.
Oh, it's horrifying. Mike slams the door in his hand, severs a finger.
And it doesn't just lie there, it's twitching, dripping this yellow ichor.
And then it transforms into this bizarre flying insect that attacks them. That moment is the film's way of telling you, no, this isn't just a grief-induced hallucination. This is real.
Or real in a nightmare context, anyway.
Exactly. It forces you to abandon any kind of literal interpretation.
And that's what elevates it, right? It's not just a monster movie. It becomes this story that is fundamentally about mourning, about grief, and coming of age.
Precisely. The Toll Man, in that context, he becomes death itself.
An unstoppable force.
Yes, an unstoppable supernatural force that literally collects and manipulates reality. He's also just that primal childhood fear of adults, these creepy, secretive figures who control the rituals around death that kids don't understand.
Which is why the whole movie feels so beautifully, chaotically dreamlike. I read that Coscarelli was heavily influenced by Dario Argento's Suspiria.
He was. He deliberately wanted the film to live in that half-understood sphere of dreams. He even admitted the script itself was barely linear.
It was unfocused.
Totally. But that surreal quality is what blurs the line between waking and dreaming. And it keeps you, the audience, permanently on unstable ground.
And the film just leans so hard into that confusion, which, of course, all leads up to that famous final sequence.
The ending that everyone talks about.
So Mike has seemingly won. He's trapped the tall man in a mine shaft, and then he wakes up.
He's by the fireplace, and Reggie tells him it was all just a bad dream, the whole adventure.
But the devastating reveal is that his brother, Jody, actually died in a car crash the week before.
Which implies the entire movie we just watched was Mike's mind trying to process that loss. A desperate attempt to have one last adventure with his brother where they get to defeat death together.
But the movie doesn't even give him that peace.
No. He goes to his room, and the tall man crashes through his bedroom mirror and pulls him in. Death wins. The nightmare is the ultimate reality.
It's just wild to think such a masterpiece of psychological horror came from such an unfocused script. Okay, let's unpack this. How did this low-budget, improvised shoot work?
Well, this is where the constraints became the film's biggest strength. It was pure, textbook independent filmmaking.
A family affair.
Right. Literally. Coscarelli's dad provided the funding. His mom handled special effects, costumes, makeup.
But she was credited under pseudonyms, I heard.
She was, because, as Coscarelli joked, there were already too many Coscarellis in the credits.
So this wasn't some disciplined studio shoot. Coscarelli himself had to be the director, writer, cinematographer, and editor.
All because they couldn't afford to hire separate professionals. And that chaotic, improvised structure is baked into the DNA of the final, surreal product.
The shoot took over a year.
Yeah, started in '77. They shot mostly on weekends, sometimes for up to 20 hours a day. The cast and crew were mostly just friends and aspiring actors.
And Reggie Bannister, who plays Reggie, he never even saw a completed script.
Never. He was working scene by scene, relying on improvisation or constant rewriting.
That necessity for just on-the-fly decision-making must be why the film's logic feels so fluid and frantic.
I think so, absolutely. And even the iconic props came from that same place of necessity or, personal experience.
The spheres. They came from a nightmare.
A nightmare Coscarelli had as a teenager, yeah. Though his original dream didn't involve the drilling, thankfully. An elderly metalworker named Will Green actually built them.
And the hero car, the black '71 Plymouth Barracuda.
Chosen for the simplest reason imaginable. Coscarelli knew a guy in high school who drove one, and he can get easy access to it. Every limitation just forced them into this unique kind of originality.
And you can't forget the editing. That long post-production process is what really solidified that fractured, dreamlike logic we now celebrate.
Right, because early test screenings were not good. They had to strip away narrative threads, tighten the pace. It was all created in the edit.
And despite all that messiness, or maybe because of it, Phantasm cemented its legacy as this true cult classic.
The initial reviews were so polarized, which I think reflects that ambiguity. Charles Champlin loved it, called it a smooth and terrifically impressive technical achievement.
But others just dismissed it. Roger Ebert said it had good style but wasn't terrifically skillful. One review called it a dilapidated Z-movie.
But that incoherent but effective quality is precisely what fueled the cult status. It refuses to clarify its own rules, so repeated viewings just lead to endless fan interpretation.
And its endurance is proven. It was ranked number 25 on Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments. The tall man is a genuine horror icon.
And its legacy got a huge boost recently from a very, very outspoken fan, J.J. Abrams.
I love this story.
Yeah, he requested a screening, found out there wasn't a good high-quality print, and just volunteered his own Bad Robot technicians to supervise a full 4K restoration.
Which became Phantasm, remastered in 2016. That is a massive endorsement.
Huge, and you can see its influence everywhere. It's been cited as an influence on films like Nightmare on Elm Street.
The dream logic, for sure.
And even surprisingly, on the internet lore around Slender Man. And of course, it launched a franchise that spanned 4 sequels, concluding with Phantasm v. Ravager.
So what does this all mean? Phantasm really is this classic case study of how embracing your limitations, a low budget, a chaotic schedule, can create something resonant and truly unique. A perfect cinematic fever dream.
It really is. And if you connect it to the bigger picture, Mike's battle with the tall man after we know his brother is dead is his mind grappling with the final stage of grief. Acceptance.
So the tall man is the inevitability he's trying to defeat in his dream life.
Right. And the film often seems to reset him back into that fight, suggesting this endless traumatic loop. It's profoundly unsettling.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to chew on. The source material tells us that Mike's struggle is an attempt to defeat an unavoidable reality death by literally entering a dream world through a mirror. So, does Phantasm ultimately suggest that to truly confront your darkest, most irrational fears, you have to abandon reality entirely and step headfirst into the nightmare? It's something to think about.
Think on that, and until next time, keep digging deep.